difficult, confusing, even mysterious? Are you an English teacher, but find English grammar easier to use than to explain? Well, don't worry. On this show, I'll be your language detective. I'll answer your questions about the English language and help you solve these English mysteries. It's Hard-Boiled English Live. Good evening, beautiful people out there in English learning land. Welcome to the show. My name is Paul Duke. I'm your host. I'm an English coach, tutor, language detective, and, as I said, host of Hard-Boiled English Live. This show streams from Vancouver, Canada, to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, FC2, Africa TV, and a whole bunch of other platforms. This show is brought to you every week, Fridays at 7 p.m., this same time spot. And tonight we've got a nice show for you. I've got a guest coming onto the show a little bit later. I've got a question to answer. And of course, our usual first segment, Word of the Day. For those of you who do not know me, I am the creator of the YouTube channel Hard-Boiled English. And on that channel, you can find my main series, English Weirdness, which is a long-form series investigating sort of the strange side of the English language. Strange, contradictory grammar issues that may cause miscommunication. We use animation, dramatization, graphics, and hopefully help you understand some of these strange structures in the English language, and hopefully be entertained as well. And by the way, I make this series entirely with an amateur crew of volunteer students, so I'm very proud of their work. As well, once a week, I host a conversation cafe. Now, this is not a lesson or a class. This is an open conversation. So learners can join in, practice their English, talk to new friends, and meet people from around the world. This is Friday mornings at 7 a.m. Vancouver time, which is PDT, Pacific Daylight Time. Now, it's free, but you do have to register in advance. So find me on Facebook at Paul Duke or Hard-Boiled English, and you can register there in advance. Now, some of you may need extra help with your English, so I am available for private lessons. If you're interested in working with me privately on Zoom, I customize my lessons entirely for you, and you can reach me one of two ways. You can go to my website, teacherpaul.ca, or you can email me directly at teacherpaul1965@gmail.com, and we'll pop that up on the screen in a moment. The format of this show, guys, is pretty simple. You ask me questions and I answer them. To start the show, what I'd like you to do is say hello in the comment thread and tell us where you're watching from. What's really interesting about this show is not actually me, but all the viewers from various countries around the world, and you'll see it in the comment thread. It's so exciting to meet you all from so many different countries in so many different corners of the world. So already we have Chris with us from Belgium. Welcome, Chris. We have Wako from Japan. Welcome. We have my friend Zulkarnain from Pakistan. Welcome to the show, Zulkarnain. We have Nakahara Sensei from Japan, another wonderful educator. We have Nick Darwin, a wonderful singer-songwriter from Brazil and a regular guest of my show. And actually tonight we're going to debut his new song at the end of the show to close it out. We've got a brand new video from Nick Darwin to premiere today. It's fantastic stuff. And by the way, Nick is a musician from Brazil, but all of his music lyrics are in English. It's quite amazing. We also have Satoru joining us from Taiwan. We have Wilson Merchan joining us. We have Maria Cristina, Chris from Brazil. We have Ohidul from Singapore, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly, but I'm not sure. I have my doubts. Welcome, everybody. Well, we're going to bring my guest on shortly, and I really want you to meet this man. He's a wonderful educator, and he'll come on in about 15 minutes and tell us some of his experiences as an English teacher. Now, to start the show, what I like to do is introduce new vocabulary every week. And trust me, English has a huge vocabulary, and there's a lot to learn. So If we learn a little bit each week, you're still building your vocabulary. And what I like to focus on is trying to find better adjectives than using the word good, because learners tend to use the word good for everything. Good is positive, bad is negative. The problem with those words are they don't give us a lot of meaning. They're not very precise. They're not very specific. So I'm going to introduce, maybe it'll take me a year or 2 years, I don't know, but I'm going to introduce a new word every week that you can use instead of good. Words to use instead of good. And this week's word is superb. 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 Okay, now this is an adjective. It has a positive connotation, and it means something that is excellent or of very, very good quality, very high quality. Okay, I'm going to give you an example sentence. Now, it's an adjective, so it modifies a noun. So you need to start with a noun to describe, and it can be anything. It could be a person, a place, a thing, an object like a pen. It could be an animal. It could be a music concert. So I'm going to say, Nick's video and song are superb. Okay, now this is the be verb, subject, be verb, plus superb. So this is a complement describing the subject, video and song. You could also say, it is a superb song. Okay, and I do believe this. So at the end of the show, I'll show you Nick's new video, and you can be the judge, but I think you'll find that it's superb. So, Nick's video and song are superb. It is a superb song. What I'd like you to do now, guys, is write your own sentence in the comment thread. Try using this word, superb, and we'll pop some of the examples up on screen. And again, if you're just joining us now, I'd like you to say hello in the comment thread and tell us what country you're from. We have Beto Leonardo joining us, but I'm not sure what country Beto is from. Brazil. Okay, great. Welcome to the show, Beto. And I think I know who you are, actually. And we have Bargain Betty 99 joining us from the moon. Yes, that's true. Bargain Betty sometimes appears on the show as a viewer. And yes, she is from the moon. Maybe one day we'll get Bargain Betty on the show in video so we can see what a moon person looks like. Because I'm curious. Being from the moon must be superb. Okay, here's Chris's example. The lessons of Teacher Paul and voice coach Elisa James are superb. Great, great sentence. By the way, Elisa James is a friend of mine and Chris's, and she's a fantastic voice and speech coach from Australia. And we're working on some new projects down the road. So when they're ready, we'll make that announcement. And I'm going to have Elisa on the show soon. I think you'll learn a lot from her. Okay, well, Zulkarnain, you have a good question. What is the difference between supper and superb? Supper is a noun. It's a noun, and it means dinner or food. Right? Dinner or food. So at nighttime, people generally eat supper. 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 This is different. This is superb. Where am I? Superb. Superb. This is supper. So these are very different sounding words, Zulkarnain, and they're different forms. This is an adjective, so it describes a noun, right? We have a noun here, a song, and superb is telling us what kind of song. Superb song. Okay. Anyone else have an example there that we can check out? Okay, we have Chris, another one. Wow, Chris is very prolific. She says, that's a superb idea to have Elisa on the show. Yes, I agree. She's going to teach me how to speak better. Okay, Zulkarnain has an example. I like a very good singing of superb. Okay, not bad. But Zulkarnain, when you have an adjective, you need to put it in front of singing. So you could say superb singing. That's the noun, and that's the adjective. The adjective comes first. Okay, Ohidul has a question. Okay, what's the difference between super and superb? Well, you can see the meaning here of superb, excellent, of very good quality. Now, I'm going to quickly check the dictionary to give you a different definition, and you guys should too. What you will find is that the adjective super has a different definition. Super means really good. It means excellent. So we can say that the words are related. There is a connection. Super basically means the best, right? Think of Superman. Superman is the strongest, most powerful human. Or he's actually from another planet, but he's number one. So super means number one. Superb means excellent, or very high quality, very good quality. Okay, Zulkarnain has another example. I like eating a super tea. Okay, super tea is different though. Super tea is like the best tea, extra tea, super powerful tea, super delicious tea, the best tea. Superb, with the B, simply means excellent or of very good quality. Okay? Now let's see if we have any more examples. And I'm going to erase mine and get ready for our first question. Anyone else have an example? Can't let Chris do all the work, guys. Come on. Chris and Zulkarnain are the one coming up with the examples here. Let's see what else you guys can do. Okay, anyone else have an example? My glasses keep twisting on me. Crazy. Okay. Okay, Ohidul says, because of his superb performance, Ohidul becomes the talk of the community. That's an excellent sentence. And in fact, we often use superb to describe performances, whether they're, music performances or sports performances. Superb. It doesn't mean the best in the world or the best ever. It just means very excellent. Super would be like the top, the number one. We even have a category of adjectives in English called superlatives, which basically are a kind of comparison which puts something as number one. We can talk about that another time. Okay, well, guys, I'm going to move to our next question, our first question of the day. Now, this was sent to me earlier. And guys, if you have a question, you can send it to me on social media at Hardboiled English, or email me at teacherpaul1965@gmail.com, and I'll put it on the show. That way, if you can't watch the show, pardon my glasses, if you can't watch the show, I'll be sure to answer your question, and then you can watch the recording later, because I do post the recordings of the show on the YouTube channel, Hardboiled English. By the way, if you haven't visited the YouTube channel, please do. Please subscribe, okay? Help me promote this. Not because I want to be famous, but I want to help as many learners out there in the world as possible. So let's make this happen, guys. Okay, I want to say hello also to Steven Merchant. Okay, great. Now, guys, I'm going to answer the first question, which was given to me by Chris, I believe, some time ago. And Chris is asking which one is correct. So we have 3 sentence examples. Okay, so I'm going to write this. We need a light in the room. Second one, we need some light in the room. And we need light in the room. And she's asking, which one is correct? So the question really is, we need light in the room, or some light in the room, or we need light in the room. I might as well just write the whole sentence. Sorry if I'm lazy. Okay. Which one's correct? We need a light in the room. We need some light in the room. We need light in the room. Well, Chris, the answer is like this. Like many things with a language, sometimes we're looking at grammar structure differences. Sometimes we're looking at meaning differences. And this is a case where we're looking at meaning differences because all three sentences are perfectly grammatical. They're perfect English sentences. Okay, so it's not a question of or. It's really a question of and. They're all good. They're all perfect sentences. But each one expresses a little bit of a different meaning. So let's look at that. Excuse me. When we say we need a light in the room, when you use the article a, it's saying a single thing. It's a single object, right? It's a singular, countable noun. When we say a light, what we are referring to is something like this. We need a light in the room, right? We need a light. It's a synonym really for saying lamp. This is really a lamp. But, people will call it a light. So when we say a light, we're talking about the electric appliance that gives us light. Okay, we need a light. So the meaning is a lamp. So maybe it's dark, but you can still see something, right? You can still see a bit, but you want to see something more clearly, like maybe you're writing in the dark, so you need a light in this room. Okay, that's the meaning. When do you use that? Well, when it's dark, but you want it to be lighter. Something specific, a light. We need some light in this room. Now, the presence of the adjective some tells us we don't need to be fully illuminated or lighted in the room, but we need some. Okay? Because why? Why would you say that? Probably because it's really dark, right? If it's 100% dark and you cannot see anything, well, you need some light, at least a little bit, because right now we have none, right? So if you walk into a dark room, well, you need some light, right? You don't need a lot, you need some, and that will help you see. So when would you say some light? From a dark room. Okay, the last one says, we need light in this room. Okay? Now, this also you might say if you walk in a dark room. Now, you'll notice there's no article a, so this is not a countable noun. We're not talking about a countable noun. We're not talking about an object that you can count. We're not talking about a lamp. We are talking about light in the uncountable meaning. The sense of light being a substance, an uncountable material in the universe, like water or air. So when you say we need light in this room, we probably have none. Okay? Or maybe you have a little bit, but you want more. In other words, you just want light because right now there's none. Okay? This would be asking for a little bit, maybe more than we have. This is just asking for generally light because I have none. And this is the uncountable noun meaning. The idea that we would need light in the sense of an uncountable substance in the universe. This is an object, a light. That's a physical object, a lamp, right? Some light means we need a little bit. Not a lot, but we need some because we have none. This, we need light. What's the opposite of light? Well, darkness. So if you're in darkness, you need light. Okay? So Chris, all three of these are grammatically correct. They're perfectly structured sentences, but each one communicates a little bit of a different meaning. And this, I think, shows us that, sometimes we shouldn't really think about whether a sentence is correct. I hate that word, correct or wrong. It's not really a question of that. Sometimes the grammar is perfectly clear and perfectly well structured, but each one gives us a different meaning. I've said this before, guys, but some of you have learned from teachers or from schools or textbooks what a synonym is. And they'll tell you a synonym is two words that have the same meaning. Personally, I don't believe it. If we have two words, we have two different meanings. Now, the meanings might be really similar, but they're never going to be exactly the same. That's why we have two words. If the meaning was the same, we'd throw one word in the garbage. It would probably evolve out of the language. And the same thing with sentence structures. This is correct grammar. This is good grammar. This is good grammar. They're all fine, but each one communicates a little bit of a different meaning. And this, guys, is why grammar is important. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you need to learn grammar the old-fashioned way, but without grammar structure and without being able to control it, you can't communicate these little bit different meanings, right? And you'll be confusing to someone. So it is important to understand how grammar works and to learn different structures so that you can communicate slightly different ideas, right? We're still using the word light in all three cases, but we're changing the meaning very slightly with this, and the fact that there's nothing here. That's a grammar feature, not having an article. That's a grammar feature, having an adjective. That's a grammar feature, having an article. And each one gives us a different meaning. Okay? So, when you hear someone say, you don't need to learn grammar, I dispute that. I don't agree with that. Now, there's a lot of different ways to learn grammar, including just by absorbing it when you're exposed to English. That does help. Reading it. And yes, reading a traditional grammar textbook can help. It certainly can't hurt you. I just think that without a grammar structure, we're just talking nonsense. We're just putting words in the salad bowl, shaking it up, and throwing a bunch of words on the board. And that's not communication. That's not a language. So yes, Chris, a light meant a lamp. Now, I think it's better to say a lamp. If you want a lamp, it's better to say, please give me a lamp. Then there's no confusion. But putting that article there in front of light does imply that you need an object, a countable single object. And because light is a substance, well, it's not really a substance, but it's a material in the universe with properties, physical properties. Without the article, we're talking about the uncountable meaning. You put an article on it, we're talking about a countable noun. Well, when is light countable? When it's an object that provides light. So it does work as a synonym of lamp. But I guess when you say a light, you don't care if it's a standing lamp, a little lamp like I have, a big lamp. You're not asking for any specific type of lamp or a hanging lamp, chandelier. You just want anything that will provide light. So maybe that's a way to look at that. Okay, I'm going to clear the board and let's see if anyone else has a question or comment. I've got a little bit of time before I bring our guest on. Okay, Zulkarnain says, Blue Light Mini, my small favorite in the room. Okay, great. So it sounds like Zulkarnain has a colorful room. Maybe something like a disco. Zulkarnain, do you have a disco in your home? Dancing disco? I've met you, Zulkarnain, so I have a feeling maybe you're a good dancer or singer. And maybe you have a blue light in your room. I'm not sure. We have someone else joining us, but I cannot read the Chinese characters, so I don't know your name. It says all correct answers, but different meanings. I got it. I don't know your name, but thank you for watching, and thank you for commenting. If you're just joining the show, guys, please say hello in the comment thread and tell us what country you're from. Introduce yourself and say hello. Get an idea of our community here. Who else is watching the show? Oh, it's Kana from Japan. Hi, Kana. Sorry, welcome. Welcome to the show, Kana. Kana, do you have any questions? We have a little bit of time to ask. We have Roni with us, Roni from Bangladesh. I don't think we have time for that one. Well, that's okay. It's wonderful to see you all here tonight, guys. Thank you for joining us. I think we'll bring our guest on now. I think I saw his name in there. Wilson? Let's get the link to Wilson. Okay, Zulkarnain says, how to join class, please request Zoom meeting link, send me. Okay, Zulkarnain, you already have the link because you've joined Conversation Cafe before. Use the same link. But today, I think you tried to join the Conversation Cafe late. If you're late, you're blocked. You won't get in. So you have to join on time. Okay, Wilson, we're sending you the link. So here, just follow the link and the instructions, and we'll bring you on board. Yeah, so Zulkarnain is a member of my weekly Conversation Cafe, which is a nice chance for everyone to join and practice their English, talking. It's not this format, it's on Zoom, so everyone can see each other. And we can talk to each other and practice your English. I want to say hello to Karen. Hi, Karen. Karen's in the USA. Nice to have an American friend with us this evening and fellow educator. Great to see you here, Karen. Okay, Wilson, you should have got the link. So just follow the instructions and we'll bring you onto the show. Remember, guys, I'm available for private lessons if you need extra help. You can contact me at my website or email me directly. And every week, you can join my Conversation Cafe with my co-host, Aya. Although this week she wasn't there because she's getting married tomorrow. So she had a lot of work to do. But we had a nice cafe anyhow. Thank you for joining, those of you who did. Chris was there. Okay, Zulkarnain, no sir, came class, come live, I am first class morning. Oh, join, okay. I have no idea what that means. So Zulkarnain, perhaps you and I need to talk about some sentence structure. Let's get to that sometime. Chris is asking, can you give us a tip on how to improvise when we have a subject to speak about? Well, that's a great question, Chris. I think one thing to know about, I'm not an expert on improvising, but I do know someone who's an expert. She's a language coach who also coaches dramatics and acting. And she does a lot of improvisation work. So stay tuned. In October, she's going to be my guest. She's a good friend of mine and a fantastic teacher. And she uses drama and theater and acting techniques to get students to speak better English. She can explain really better than I can improvising techniques, but it's a great question. As far as I can tell, one way to practice improvising is doing what you do with the Conversation Cafe. Get a question given to you from me or someone else, and you have no chance to plan it. You have no chance to plan your answer. So improvising happens every day when you have a natural conversation. And I think the more you practice people asking you questions that you're not expecting, that improvising technique will come about. Okay, guys, our guest is standing by. I'll say hello to Anaf Hassan from Bangladesh. Now, the guest that I'm going to bring on, guys, is a very interesting man that I've met online this year. one of the great things about the pandemic, if there's any great things, was it gave me a chance to work online more and meet students and educators from around the world. And it's been my very good fortune to meet several interesting people through this period of online working. And the next guest I'm going to bring on is someone I really want you to meet because his story is interesting and what he does is interesting. He's an excellent educator from Ecuador. For those of you who don't know where Ecuador is, it's in South America, and the name really means equator in English. So it's right on the equator, the hottest part of the world. So, and by the way, Ecuador is home to the world's greatest coffee beans and cocoa beans. So great chocolate comes from Ecuador. So, without delay, I'd like you to meet my friend, Wilson. Hi, Wilson. How are you?
Hey, how are you, Mr. Paul? How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. It's wonderful to see you.
Me too.
Thank you for
I'm
joining the
happy to
show
see you
tonight,
too.
Wilson. I'm happy to see you.
Th-
Your sound
Thank you.
is
I'm happy
good. You hear
too.
me okay?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now
Definitely, I hear you very well.
there's a small delay, Wilson, so we're going to have to let each other finish speaking and then go, okay? So we don't mix.
Okay.
So, Wilson, I'm going to ask you a few questions about your experience and your progress and journey as an English teacher. Take us back in time. How did you first learn English?
Well, I'm gonna tell you. I traveled to the United States 21 years ago. I went to
21 years
Chicago.
ago.
Yes, and I started working there as a dishwasher, as a cook, in a restaurant and also as a
Hmm.
waiter and as a host. And then I decided to study English because I needed to speak English in order to speak with the American people from the United States. So, and also in my work, I needed to know the language in order to get a much better job. So I went to school every day in the mornings from 10:30 to half past 12. And I studied harder for most of the time. I finished, I got my certificate in ESL in English as a second language. And also I have my bachelor's degree in English here in Ecuador. So I'm a teacher for 20 years. I've been teaching English for 20 years.
Great.
And
When you
I
went
love
when you went to Chicago, did you already know some English
Well,
or
just a
just
new word, just a new words. I knew just how to say a window, door. I didn't know how to form a phrase of English.
yeah.
But once I got to the United States, I started to speak English once I went to the school because I learned the structure of the grammar. Also, it's very important to distinguish between the tenses. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. And so after Chicago, you returned to Ecuador and at that time you went to university and studied or
When I come back from Chicago, I started studying here in Ecuador, the university, and I
right.
finished in 1 year because they give me a placement test. So I have already knowledge in English, so I passed. So I won a lot of time. So I didn't start from the beginning here at the university. So I approached and I went to the upper level and I finished in a year. I got my bachelor's degree. I've been teaching for 20 years now.
That's fantastic. So you teach at a school, a
High
language
school,
school? High
high
school.
school,
Okay, so your students are teenagers.
teenager from 12 to 18,
Mhm.
from 12 age of 12 to 18 years old.
Yeah. Tell me something. Your teenage students, your high school students, do they like learning English? Are they excited or they hate it? Teacher,
Well,
English. What's
no,
the
most of
feeling?
some of them love the English language. They develop more than the other ones, but I keep them motivating to speak English and to learn more. but I have some of them that they like the language, so they
Okay,
speak the language, and they are very interested in the language. Yeah.
wonderful. So some of them might use it in their future in university or in their jobs, right? Some of them want to use English, maybe?
Yes, absolutely. Because in the
Yeah.
university, you need at least four levels of English to approve and get your career and where you are studying. For example, if you want to be a doctor, an architect, or an engineer, you need to have at least four levels of English in the
Ah,
university in order to get the bachelor's degrees and whatever you are studying.
yeah. Um, when you say the different levels, do they test your English? Do they use a certain exam like IELTS or TOEFL? Is there a
What
certain test they take?
What do you mean? Me, when I begin to take the placement test in order to get my bachelor degree, yes, they give
Yeah.
me a placement test,
Okay.
probably of 100 questions from
Right.
beginning to high level. So from
Interesting.
beginning to high advanced level. So then they put you in the on the level you belong according to your knowledge.
Ah, I see. Okay. And then they place you in the right spot.
Exactly.
Um,
Yes.
great. So you teach English at a school. Now, in Ecuador, after school or on the weekends, when you go shopping or go to a restaurant or visit a doctor, is there a lot of English in Ecuador? Are people using
Well,
English in Ecuador?
not really, not too many. Some tourists that sometimes they come, so they speak English here, and I approach to them to speak English with them because I practice the English language. And also I approach to, we have the social media here and YouTube. So I approach that. There are many programs or many pages of social media like a Cambridge Dictionary, Google
Yeah.
Translator. So they teach you how to pronounce the English properly well.
A lot of nice tools for students now, right? And for teachers.
Absolutely, yes. I
Yeah.
this was never before. 20 years ago, there wasn't this. So now we have this technology. Is we have to approach. It's
Yeah.
like you show the hard-boiled
Yeah.
English life. That's beautiful. I love it. And also
Oh, thank you.
and also the conversation cafe in the morning. It's wonderful. I
Yeah.
approach and I take advantage of that.
Yeah. It's a nice, these are nice tools that we can use that maybe you and I, when we were younger, we didn't have internet and social media. We didn't have this.
Not at all. Not at all.
Not at all, right? You mentioned actually that you came to the USA, to Chicago, and you worked as a dishwasher. It's also true that I worked as a dishwasher after high school. It was
Yeah,
my
you
first
told me.
job. And now I spoke English, but it's almost a different language in the kitchen, washing dishes. So I can imagine it was a very big challenge for you coming from Ecuador, working in a kitchen where everyone's talking fast and give me this, and here's some dishes. It must have been very challenging. I
Yeah, it
can see
sure
the
is.
picture.
Yeah, I worked
Yeah,
hard when I was there.
yeah. But you
Yeah,
probably made some good
and
friends,
everywhere
right?
and outside. Absolutely, I have many good friends from Chicago and from New York because I was in New York too. 1 year in New York, 7 years in Chicago, and 1 year in New York. So I love the country. Thanks God, because I'm thankful from the States because since then I become a teacher and I got my profession now.
So
So
that
good,
experience really
nice.
helped you become a teacher, didn't it? Your experience in
Yes, it
Chicago
did.
helped you become
Yes,
a teacher.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah. It's interesting that you did that
absolutely.
because
Yes, that's it.
go ahead.
Yeah, please finish your
Oh,
what you
okay.
started.
What I was saying that I meet a lot of students in Canada from other countries and they're learning English. And they say, "What should I do?" And I always suggest, if you can, get a job. Get a job in a cafe or a restaurant, because you have to use your English, so it's a chance to practice, and you make good friends when you work together. So it's a good chance to have friends who are English speakers, and maybe go for a dinner or go for a party after and use your English. And you have no choice. You
Absolutely.
have to use your English. So it sounds like that's what you did. Even though it's
Yes, I
challenging,
did.
it probably helped your English a lot, right?
And sometimes people help me with my pronunciation too,
Yeah.
because I don't pronounce like that. It's like that, please. But they never left. They're very respectful people. Yeah.
Yeah. Wilson, we have some friends here who I think are Spanish speakers saying hello to you. Can you see the comments? We have Elmo, maybe Kenny,
Uh,
Elmo and Kenny. Are they your students?
yeah, they are my students. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you for joining, guys.
I invite them. Teacher, yeah, they mix some English and Spanish there. Yeah. They call me guapo. I'm handsome.
You are handsome. You're a handsome
That's
guy.
that's why one of the guys wrote there. Yeah.
Hey, Wilson, we have a question from Kana. Let's answer this together, you and I. She's asking, what do you think is the most important thing in learning English? What do you think, Wilson? What's the most important thing for a learner?
The most important thing for a learner to learn English, uh, actually, what do you mean? The topic, for example, if it's the verb to be would be the first thing that they would
I,
have to learn,
I think
right?
what kind of means is what technique? If I want to learn English, what should I do? Should I read a book? Should I watch movies? Should I go to Chicago? Like, what
Okay.
should I do? What way to learn, I think.
Well,
What do you
it
think is the
depends.
most important way?
Well, it depends. If you are here in Ecuador, like I said, use the social media, listen to videos in English, also talk to friends or at school, meet with groups of students and start speaking English. And sometimes I make groups of students to speak English and practice every day. And sometimes I
Hmm.
make them memorize the paragraphs. So what do they have to say, each of the students? So
Yeah.
that way.
I think what you're telling us too is that there's a lot of ways to do it, but the most important thing is to use it. When you're learning a language, Kana, if you read a textbook and you just read it and memorize, it doesn't work, because a language is not just a bunch of facts to memorize. It's a skill. So, Kana, if you ever try to learn how to play a sport like tennis, you can watch TV and you can watch tennis, but sooner or later you have to practice it. You have to try it and make mistakes and try again and get help in the technique. But you have to do it. A language is a skill and you have to practice. And you can practice many ways, like social media, groups, or go to Chicago or come to Vancouver and talk to English speakers, right? Would you agree, Wilson, that you just have to use it?
Exactly. You have to practice. You have to speak English. And
Yeah.
what you learn, put in practice. If you learn a word,
Yeah.
just practice, speak. Don't be afraid. So just you have to speak up, and then you will be get in the hang of that.
I think also, you're talking about social media and internet. I'm not sure how old you are, Kana, but when I was young, if I wanted to learn a language that we don't use in Canada, I had to travel to learn it. So if you're in Japan, Kana, and you want to learn English, and none of your friends speak English, and you have no chance to practice, you have the internet now. You can join Wilson and I at Conversation Cafe. Now there are tools to use. You can meet people from around the world. Um, so Kana is saying, I'm not good at memorize, and many Japanese are super shy, including me. Well, I'll tell you what, Kana, I'm super shy, right? But if you practice things with friends and teachers who care about you, nothing bad will happen. And you can practice and get some support and information and feedback. But you know, a lot of learners, a lot of teachers are kind of shy, and that's okay. But you can't spend your life hiding in the corner. If you do, you will never get your dreams. You have to get out there and get them. And if your dream is to learn English, you got to try some stuff. So, Kana, I recommend you join us in our conversation cafe. You know me, now you know Wilson. Come to join us in the conversation cafe, and you can practice English. And people there are different levels of English, right, Wilson? We have strong English friends, and we have lower level English friends.
Every levels there are. And what I'm
Yeah.
saying also about the memorize, especially the verbs you have to memorize, the regular
Yeah.
verbs and irregular verbs. So there
Yeah.
is no other way. You have to memorize the present,
That's
past,
right.
the base verb, the past tense of the verb, and the past participle. There is no other way. You have to memorize the verbs
Yeah.
to distinguish what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, good old-fashioned studying. Like, we are always trying to learn new techniques for study and education, but some of the old methods also work, right?
Yes, it is.
Good old-fashioned study still has you still have to do it. We don't have a magic software yet, like the Matrix. We don't have this yet, so you have to do some work.
That's right.
Okay, let's see what else we have here. Oh, we have Tirath joining us, Wilson. Tirath from Nepal.
Okay, I see.
Good morning, Tirath. I see some other questions from your students in Spanish, but I don't understand them. Are they asking some questions, Elmo?
Well, what he's saying there is that you teach English in the United States. He doesn't know.
Me?
You are from Canada. He's wondering
I'm
if
from
you.
Canada, yes.
Yeah, but the student wrote if you teach English in the United States.
Okay. Yes, I'm from Canada. This is Elmo? Elmo said?
Telmo, yeah, Telmo Parra, yes.
Okay. I teach from Canada. I live in Vancouver, Canada, which is on the west coast of Canada, close to Seattle in the US.
Right.
Canada, yeah. Very nice. It's nice that your students joined us tonight. That's wonderful.
Keep it up.
By the way,
Don't be nervous.
Kana, I just want to make a message to Kana. Kana, I'm not sure, but if we're not, please join me on social media at Hardboiled English, and I'll give you the link. I'll connect you to our conversation cafe. So if you go to Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, I'll make sure you get the link, and you can join us, and you can practice your English. And nothing bad will happen. You know, even if you make a mistake, it's okay. You have to make mistakes to learn something. Okay. Wilson, do you have any questions for me now that we're together? Is there anything you wanted to ask me about anything?
Well, how long have you been teaching English?
I've been teaching English for about 10 years. About 10 years, yeah. I worked at a language school called ELS Language Centers. It's an international company with a school in Vancouver. I worked there for about 8 years, maybe almost 9 years, until the pandemic basically closed it down. And then I moved my teaching online. Someone says, "Hello, teacher Paul, you're very cute." And my teacher Wilson is more beautiful. You're right. Wilson is much more beautiful than I am. But
Don't
thank
say
you for
that.
saying.
We are
I'll take the
different.
cute. And someone says, "Forgive the disrespect of my colleagues, is that they are excited." Don't worry, it's fine. No disrespect here. It's all fun.
They are teenagers too, my students.
Yeah, it's good. Hey guys, Wilson students, you may not believe it, but once I and Wilson were teenagers too. It's true. I used to be a teenager, so it's okay. I understand how to be a teenager. It's a long time ago, Wilson.
Yeah. Yes,
It's a
it
long
is.
time ago, but we remember,
Yeah.
don't we?
Yes, we do.
Wow, lots of your friends joining. That's wonderful. That's great. Wilson, I have another question about Ecuador. I have heard from another student I taught. I taught a student from Ecuador, a businessman, and he told me Ecuador is most famous for chocolate. The world's best chocolate comes from Ecuador. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
Chocolate?
absolutely. Absolutely. There is a lot of plantations here in Ecuador of chocolate beans. There are a lot
The
of them.
beans, right?
The beans, yes. They make chocolate. Even in my family make chocolate too. So
Mm-hmm.
we make the for coffee in the morning with a piece of chocolate, boil the water, and then put the chocolate mixer up, and then drink it. It's very delicious.
That
I
sounds
recommend.
great. Yeah, I think a
Yes,
lot of people don't really realize that chocolate is made in many countries. For example, it's famous in Europe, Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, but they get the bean from places like Ecuador, right? The
absolutely.
bean
Yes,
comes from Ecuador.
yes.
Um, I think a lot of people like chocolate. In fact, let's take a survey. If you like chocolate, say yes in the comments. Say yes if you like chocolate. Do you like chocolate?
Yes, I
Chris,
do.
do you like chocolate? Wilson likes chocolate. Kana, do you like chocolate? Wako, do you like chocolate? Bargain Betty on the moon, do you have chocolate on the moon? If you like chocolate, say yes. If you don't like it, say no. Take a little survey. Chris says yes. Nakahara Sensei says yes. And Mo says, yeah. Chieko, oh, Chieko's here. Welcome to the show, Chieko. I didn't see you earlier. And you like chocolate. Wilson, there's a lot of great chocolate in Japan. They probably
Oh,
import the Ecuador bean, but there's some really good chocolate companies.
for eating.
Yeah. Oh, there's our friend Angel. Angel is a chocolate monster. Now, Angel's from Mexico, and I think Mexico produces chocolate beans as well. Of Chris from Belgium, and of course, Belgium, the country is famous for its chocolate. So I think we have a winner. I think everyone loves chocolate. Okay, great. Well, Wilson, I'm going to ask you one final question, which is, we have a lot of language learners with us. We have your students, some of my students, and some of our just learner friends out there in the world. Give them one piece of advice. Everyone's learning English. What's one little advice you would give them?
Well, the advice that I would give to them is that to learn the English language because it's the universal language. All over the world, they speak English and they communicate through the English language. Everyone should speak English because that's the way you can improve your jobs. You can have a better job, better opportunities. So there is all now that among English. So I recommend to study the English language. It's very important.
Yeah, that's good. I agree. Not because English is the best language, maybe it's not, but it's the most universal. It's the most useful, right? Because
Absolutely.
without English, you and I would not be friends. We met because we can communicate,
Absolutely. Yes.
right?
You're a
And
wonderful friend.
oh, thank you, thank you. And we met because we have internet and we have English. Two important tools. These are tools we can use, right?
Absolutely.
So I agree 100% with that advice. Everyone should learn English. It's important. And the world is getting more and more together. So we need a language to talk to each other with. So you students of Wilson, work hard, study hard, listen to your teacher.
I
He's
always say
trying to
that.
help you with your life. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, sometimes learning can be boring. But think about the end. It's going to help your life, right? Nothing important really is easy, right? Wilson, I want to say thank you to you before I say goodbye. It's been wonderful having you here, hearing your story. Oh, yes. Chris says, I love English because it's a great tool to network with people from all over the globe. Absolutely. We met Chris in Belgium. We met her online because we can share English.
I met her
It's
too.
fantastic.
And
Yeah,
like,
you've met Chris. So we've been together in Conversation Cafe, Ecuador, Canada, and Belgium, and we can communicate. It's amazing.
Nepal too, Terra.
That's right. Tirath is in Nepal. I mean, that's really far away from both of us. You and I are in the Americas. He's in the middle of the world in Nepal. It's incredible. Okay, Wilson, thank you very much for joining the show tonight.
You're
I'll talk
welcome.
to you soon. Thank you for sharing your story. Please keep being a great English teacher. Your students benefit greatly from you. The world benefits from you. So keep being a great teacher, okay? And thank you for educating.
Thank you for inviting me. Thanks. Thank you a lot.
Okay, Wilson. Take care, and I'll see you soon, okay?
Good luck, Mr. Paul.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you, everyone.
Thank you, Wilson. Okay, fantastic. It's great to meet Wilson and hear his story. He bravely went to the United States with only a little bit of English. He got a job and had to use his English. He got better at English, went back home, studied English in university, became a teacher. It's fantastic. I'm very, very happy to have met him and heard his story. So guys, that's about it for the show. But what I'd like to do now, before I say goodnight, is introduce the opening premiere of a new song and video from Nick Darwin. So while your students are here, I'd like to introduce them to the song because maybe they'll love this music too. So we're going to play Nick's video, so stay with us. But before that, I'm going to say good night. So everyone, thank you for watching the show. Thank you for joining us. Yep, here we go. Keep learning English. Keep working hard. I'll see you next Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Until then, guys, here's Nick's video, and stay cool.
Give it all you got, as long as you don't give too much of yourself. Just shut your mouth and try to be like everyone else. Keep lifting, you have to gain some weight. Just don't be such a show-off when you're done, just a regular face. I want to be something that I'm not just cause you say it's done right. It's so mad, sitting shy behind your mouse pad. Now your face is turning red, ever read the last rat? Nerdy weirdo, skinny boy, cooler than a granddad. I'm gonna risk it, or the world will turn. I've been around for long enough, you thought I'd never learn, but okay, it won't have too soon. But call me when it's time to. So tell me something, why does it feel like I'm unable to belong? Why does it feel like I have to try harder? Oh, why do you look at me like I was ready to give up? Hey, don't you know that I'm just getting started? I don't need a fit in. When all you say, I know you think I'm super fly. The way I look just doesn't seem to bother you, do you mind? I quit the boring out of 5, finally realize I should be 24/7 on, it makes me feel alive. You cover up to chase me down. You think I'm freeze, but I'm okay because I wanna be found. Now I know when I'm on the stage, you're within the crowd. You used to criticize me, now you're singing out loud. And my keeping my faith so great. Flip the coin, cross the fingers, but you're gonna see my face go. I had to make my day. The karma cops are on the way. Tell me something, why does it feel like I'm unable to belong? me something, why does it feel like I'm unable to belong? Why does it feel like I have to try harder? Oh, why you look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me like I was ready to give up? Hey, don't you know that I'm just getting started? Tell me something, why does it feel like I'm unable to belong? Why does it feel like I have to try harder? Oh, why you look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me like I was ready to give up? Hey, don't you know that I'm just getting started? I don't need to fit in.